24/7 ventilated son with tracheostomy needs critical care nurses, not support workers. The NDIS must fund 24/7 nursing care with critical care nurses. That's what I'm going to look at today with an email that we had from a potential client and reader. My name is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecareathome.com, where we provide tailor-made solutions for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies at home, and where we provide quality of life for our clients and their families, and where we also provide peace of mind for families because we're sending critical care nurses into the home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, today, I want to address a very important and also sadly common concern from a loving parent who contacted me and said, "Hi, Patrick. My son is 24/7 ventilated with a tracheostomy. We currently only have funding for support workers. We're already using some support workers, but I need to know, do you use nurses or support workers? I don't want our current workers to take a pay cut if we switch to your service, but my son's life is at risk. Can we move our workers over to you? Are your workers trained so I can leave my son alone with them? Do I get to interview and pick who comes into our home? We're also still fighting NDIS for 24/7 funding. We have 22 hours Monday to Tuesday, 19 hours Wednesday to Friday and Saturday, and only 16 hours on a Sunday and public holidays. Also, do you have a clinical nurse in Sydney to train staff?" So this comes from a reader who contacted me. So let's unpack this. First and foremost, if your son is 24/7 ventilated with a tracheostomy, but even if he's not 24/7 ventilated, but he has a tracheostomy 24/7, of course, he is at high risk of dying if he's left in the hands of support workers who are not qualified, trained, or experienced in managing mechanical ventilation and tracheostomy. It's not a game. This is actually life or death. The best comparison that I can make is it is like flying the airplane with a cabin crew instead of the pilot. That is extremely dangerous. So the NDIS must fund 24-hour care with critical care trained nurses trained in ventilation and tracheostomy care, because the risk of accidental decannulation, blocked tubes, or ventilator malfunction requires immediate emergency intervention that only an intensive care nurse or a very experienced ED nurse can provide. Support workers are not trained for this, full stop. At Intensive Care at Home, we only employ critical care registered nurses who have a minimum of 2 years ICU experience and extensive training in tracheostomy and ventilation care and management, in line with the mechanical home ventilation guidelines that you can read up on our website. And those guidelines are evidence-based. And those guidelines clearly say that exclusively critical care trained nurses with a minimum of 2 years ICU nursing experience can safely look after ventilated plus minus tracheostomy clients at home. That's it. It's evidence-based. So, to answer your questions in more detail, we do not use support workers for care for ventilated clients, only ICU-trained nurses, because once again, that would be like flying the airplane with a cabin crew instead of the pilot. You also need to keep in mind that would be like sending disability support workers into ICU. What would you say if your son all of a sudden would be looked after in ICU by disability support workers? I'm sure you wouldn't be happy with that. So why would you do that at home? And yes, we operate in Sydney, and we have clinical nurses and clinical nurse consultants and educators on the ground who help train and supervise our critical care nurses, but certainly not support workers, because also APRA, the regulator, because we're APRA registered nurses, does not allow us to train support workers, right? So families don't know what they don't know. Even NDIS support coordinators don't know what they don't know. Next, yes, families, our clients, are involved in the interview and selection process. We understand that the right fit for your home and for your family member is everything. You don't need to risk your current workers losing their pay. We can talk to them, and if they're qualified nurses and meet our standards, they may be eligible to join our team. Now, and most importantly, we can also work with you and help you fight for 24-hour nursing with NDIS funding, and we can provide the clinical evidence and justification you need to justify and advocate for it. If your son is ventilated and with the tracheostomy and you don't have 24/7 ICU level nursing care, you're playing Russian roulette with your son's life. It is that serious. We've helped many families just like yours to transition from unsafe home care models with support workers to safe, evidence-based 24/7 home intensive care nursing, all NDIS funded. So don't wait until something goes horribly wrong. Reach out to us today at intensivecareathome.com and let's get your son the care he needs and deserves. Now, with intensive care at home, we are currently sending our ICU and critical care nurses into the home 24 hours a day. We are providing the following: home care services for ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies with critical care nurses 24 hours a day. A genuine alternative to a long-term stay in intensive care or long-term acute care, tracheostomy care for clients without ventilation, home care services for patients on non-invasive ventilation such as home BiPAP, home CPAP, home TPN, which is also known as IV nutrition, home IV potassium and home IV magnesium infusions, IV fluids, and IV antibiotics. We are providing central line management, PICC line management, Hickman's line management, as well as port management at home. We're providing nasogastric tube and PEG tube management at home, the use of cough assist machines for our clients for airway clearance at home, palliative care services at home, as well as ventilator weaning at home. We're also sending our critical care nurses into the home for emergency department bypass services. We have done so successfully as part of the Western Sydney Local Area Health District, their In Touch program, saving approximately $2,000 per patient that we keep at home instead of them going to an emergency department. That also means we're in a position to cut the cost of an intensive care bed by around 50%. An intensive care bed costs between $5,000 to $6,000 per bed day. Our service costs between $2,500 to $3,000 per bed day, and we're freeing up the most sought after bed in the hospital, which is the ICU bed. Most importantly, we're improving the quality of life for patients and their families, which is a win-win situation for all stakeholders. Of course, quality of life is much improved surrounded by families and by a team of dedicated intensive care nurses in the home care setting instead of in an intensive care unit. With intensive care at home, we are currently operating all around Australia in all major capital cities as well as in all regional and rural areas. We work with NDIS clients all around Australia, TAC and WorkSafe in Victoria, Department of Veteran Affairs all around Australia. Our clients and we as a service provider have also received funding through public hospitals, private health funds, as well as departments of health. We are having policies and procedures for intensive care at home nursing, and we've built all the intellectual property for intensive care at home since 2012. No other provider in Australia has created more intellectual property when it comes to intensive care at home nursing than we have. This puts us in a position to employ hundreds of years of critical care nursing experience combined in the community. No other service provider in 2025 employs a higher skill level in the community than we do, which enables us to look after the highest acuity adults and children in the community in Australia safely. So if you're at home already, and if you're watching this, or you're stuck in an ICU long-term, or if you're going to hospital and ED all the time, and you realize that you don't have the right level of support at home, or if you are stuck in an ICU, I'll give you a real-world example today how we can help you. One of our first clients when we first got started in 2012 was a client who was at home initially on a ventilator with a tracheostomy with a support worker model 24/7. Of course, support workers are not equipped to look after a client at home on a ventilator with a tracheostomy. That is dangerous and it's simply negligent. Having support workers looking after a client at home on a ventilator with a tracheostomy is like flying the airplane with a cabin crew instead of the pilot, because anyone on a ventilator with a tracheostomy is at very high risk of medical emergencies 24/7, or even at high risk of dying if they don't have a team of dedicated critical care nurses looking after them 24/7 at home. This is actually evidence-based and is documented in our mechanical home ventilation guidelines that you can find on our website at intensivecareathome.com. Think about it. In an intensive care unit in a hospital, you wouldn't have support workers looking after your critically ill loved one or after any critically ill patient on a ventilator with a tracheostomy. So why would anyone in their right mind do that in a home care environment in the community? So this client at the time found out about us eventually, and the ICU that he was basically living in also knew about us and eventually reached out to us. And we were proving our concept with this client very fast. When we worked with this particular client, we sent him critical care nurses 24 hours a day, and he never ever went back into ICU ever again, as long as we were working with this client. We can do the same for you if you're not safe at home and help you with keeping you at home predictably. Otherwise, we would not be in business. Again, the same is applicable for those stuck in an ICU, similar to this case study that I've just given you. Or if you're going back to ED all the time, please reach out to us. We can help you with taking you through the right steps, including how to get funding with different funding bodies. This is also why we are providing NDIS support coordination. We have a team of NDIS support coordinators, and they have a wealth of knowledge. I've done an interview with Amanda Richards, one of our NDIS support coordinators, and I'll put a link to an interview with Amanda in the written version of this blog. We're also providing TAC case management and WorkSafe case management in Victoria with Lucy McCodder. If you're an NDIS support coordinator or a case manager from another organization watching this and you're looking for nursing care for your participants, please reach out to us as well. If you need more evidence for nursing care, we are also writing NDIS nursing assessments with legal nurse, critical care consulting nurses. If you are a critical care nurse and you're looking for a career change and you want to join a very progressive, dynamic, and high-performing team of critical care nurses in the community, we're employing hundreds of years of critical care nursing experience combined. You can join this high-performing team if you are a critical care nurse. If you are looking for a career change as a critical care nurse, we're currently hiring for jobs for critical care nurses in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, in Albury, Wodonga, in Bendigo, in Geelong, in Warragul, in Victoria. If you have worked in critical care nursing for a minimum of 2 years, pediatric ICU, ED, and you have already completed a postgraduate critical care nursing qualification, we will be delighted hearing from you. I do have a disclaimer though, because we are offering a tailor-made solution for our clients, which includes regular staff. Our clients also do want the same staff coming over and over again because they are so vulnerable and so special. That's why we need regular staff. So if you're looking for agency work where you can come and go, this will not be the right fit for you. We are looking for consistency and our clients are looking for consistency. So please only apply with us if you can give us regular and consistent availabilities for shifts and you're really keen on building solid relationships with us and with our clients. If you're an intensive care specialist or an ED specialist, we also want to hear from you. We're currently expanding our medical team as well. We can also help you eliminate your bed blocks in your ICU and in your ED for your long-term patients, or for your regularly readmitting patients with our critical care nursing team at home. We're here to help you take the pressure off your ICU and ED beds, and in most cases, you won't even pay for it. Even if you do pay for it, it is so much more cost-effective than what you're paying for in ICU and ED, and you get the same level of care. And if you're a hospital executive watching this and you have bed blocks in your ICU, ED, and respiratory wards, or for home TPN, please reach out to us as well. We can help you eliminate your bed blocks very fast. If you're in the US and in the UK and you're watching this and you need help, we want to hear from you as well. We can help you there privately with one-on-one consulting and with hiring nurses privately. Once again, our website is intensivecareathome.com. Call us on one of the numbers on the top of our website or simply send us an email to info@intensivecareathome.com. And if you like my videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel for regular updates for families with intensive care at home and intensive care. Click the like button, click the notification bell, share this video with your friends and families, and comment below what you want to see next or what questions and insights you have from this video. Thank you so much for watching. This is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecareathome.com, and I will talk to you in a few days. Take care for now.